Welcome here. My name is Tanya Rishka, and I am happily married to my husband, Derek. I have 3 beautiful kids that I've been blessed with. But the reason I'm on here is I want to share with you a little bit about me, but also the question at hand. And that is, are you feeling stuck at your job and your income potential is capped? I wanted to ask this question because I know a lot of times people are in a job, in a position somewhere, living life, and they're not enjoying themselves. So before I dive into the topic at hand, just a little bit about me. I am an online entrepreneur, online business owner. I have been for almost 7 years. I'm just coming up on the 7-year mark end of this week. And I have been, living my life as an entrepreneur for, as I mentioned, 7 years, but we were able to make a move from Ontario, Canada to Alberta, Canada because of this online business. So I'll dive into that a little later as well. But the reason I wanted to share this with you is because this is something that a lot of times people don't even realize there's another option. They're stuck at their job. They're doing, the same thing over and over, day in and day out. And they're realizing that their paycheck actually isn't able to even pay for part of their dreams, let alone the big dreams that they really want to share with their family. And as a fellow mom, fellow parent, I know exactly how you feel because I felt that way. Now, mind you, I was an employee up until we got married, and then we decided, my husband and I, Derek, decided that I would stay at home with our kids because we realized that daycare costs were very expensive. They were very high. And also, I loved the idea of being able to spend time with my kids. So yes, we made a lot of sacrifices, especially with a family of 5. We grew into our family of 5, so we have a little bit of an age gap between our kids. We have a 24-year-old, a 20-year-old, and a 15-year-old. So, with that comes a lot of sacrifice, as I mentioned, but also budgeting. So if you're a fellow mom like myself, you're trying to make ends meet, you're, going day to day at your job, but you're yearning for that time to be able to spend with your children, I just want to let you know that there is another option. And I want to go over that with you today. But first of all, the one thing that really strikes me and that sticks out with me is, before becoming an online business owner, I had what most people would consider an employee mindset. So with that being said, with that being said, we wanted to find a different way. We wanted to be able to earn an income, firstly, to be able to pay for our children's education. And also at the time, my husband was, working a job an hour and a half away from home. And that wasn't something that, he wanted to do, every single day. Now, mind you, it paid the bills and it, paid for our expenses. We were able to provide for our family, but he was also sacrificing time on the road, time away from his family. And so what that looked like was coming home on evenings, having dinner with us, sitting down, and then weekends were spent playing catch up, literally. Whether it was rearranging the house, whether it was doing the cleaning that I didn't get a chance to get done during the week, whether it was, small projects or errands that we had to run, well, and even visiting. We wanted to make sure that we had time for our extended family as well. So we found that we didn't have the time anymore. So more than anything, we were looking for a way to be able to get back that time, to still be able to stay at home with our children, for myself, and to be able to be there for them, when they got home from school. They really loved that idea, being home for them. And, when they got home from school, they could rely on the fact that I was there and, take them to appointments, take them to their activities, whatever that looked like, or even if they were sick, if they were at home and, rather than trying to find, scramble for someone to be able to stay with them, I was that person. So I feel blessed and I feel lucky and I feel grateful that was able to happen. But as I mentioned, there was a lot of sacrifices that had to be made. And so I want to say that I wish that I had this sooner. That is my biggest regret, that this didn't, fall into my lap a lot sooner. So, but here's the thing. You have the chance today. You have the chance to make a decision whether you want to look into doing something altogether different. So let me dive in. So the first thing is, the employee mindset. People feel like they have to give up a piece of their life in order to receive money. And that's not your fault. That was your family's upbringing. That was, your parents teaching you that and their parents. They figured that the only way to be able to get ahead, was to be able to work for somebody else. But now, more often than anything, you're seeing so many people, so many entrepreneurs opening up their own business, working for themselves. Why? Because there's time flexibility, there's no income cap. You can, literally the sky is the limit. So if you have dreams that you want to achieve, there's ways of being able to do that. And a lot of it comes with learning skills, which you would learn along the way as well. But going back to being an employee, that mindset was something that we grew up with. Time equals money. And even before I became an entrepreneur with this business, I was refinishing furniture. I was doing side gigs along the way. I didn't not do anything while I was at home. As I mentioned, there was a lot of sacrifices, but I also had to try and make ends meet for the expenses that my husband wasn't able to cover off. And of course, there was Christmas and there was gift giving and, you name it. There was a lot of things that required the extra money, extra cash flow. So for me, one of the things that I was doing was furniture refinishing or painting. Chalk painting was the big thing. And I loved it. But then what it came down to was that was, again, time taken away from my family. So whether I was painting in the garage or, painting in our dining room or, whatever it looked like, that was time spent away from my family again. Whether I was in the home or out, I still was, it still took, the time in order to make the money. And what I'm getting at is that meant that I had to show up. I had to show up for that particular situation, that particular project. And I also had to store anything that I had refinished, I wanted to be able to sell. So what I realized was there's got to be a better way. Having this furniture taking up space in our home, when it wasn't being sold right away, there was that waiting period, that waiting game, waiting for these things to sell. And I thought, I can't go on like this. And the other thing is, I didn't want to not like my passion anymore. I really enjoyed the painting, and I thought, if this becomes more of a job, I'm not going to like it anymore. I was kind of losing the passion there. So we decided to look toward the online because we had heard so many businesses were jumping online, and they were having great success. And of course, the biggest word was automation. That was what we knew was, up and coming. And my husband being in marketing, he had a little bit of background in that and, knowing that there is another way. So, going back to the employee mindset though, what are some of the things, or what are, if you were going to encounter something like this as an employee, what is something, or what would be a response that most people would say that they have, coming from being an employee and now trying to think like a business owner? Well, the first and biggest one that I have seen is I have no money. So, the thing about it is that when you are looking at a business, yes, it's going to take an investment. So nothing's for free, but imagine the potential that there would be behind that, and so we say that you have to be resourceful. If it comes down to it and you really want to start something of your own, you want to be able to reap the benefits, and eventually have a passive income, there is a small investment that you would have to make, and that would, incur a little bit of a cost, but, depending on how resourceful you can be, it can be done. So that's one of the setbacks that I've heard of people. Now, the second one is I don't have the talent or skills. That was me. Being a full-time mom, not being in the corporate world for a number of years, I didn't know if I was going to have the skills. I really had doubts. I didn't know if I could find something that was going to allow someone like me that was out of the workforce for many, many, many years. And, if I was going to be capable of, running a business, would that be something that I could do? And so, there was a little bit of skepticism. There was a little bit of doubt. But you know what? There is, again, so much training. There's so much online that will help you to get to where you want to be. Now, at first, I couldn't find that. I couldn't find what I was looking for right away. I did have to do my homework. I did my due diligence. I, scoured the internet. I looked for different ideas. And finally, the right one came to me after about 6 months. So I did my research. And yeah, I didn't just jump into something. I really made sure that I got my questions answered, and also included my husband, Derek. He was a little skeptical at first as well, but then we got our questions answered, and he felt so much better about it. So then we knew that we were onto something, and that this was our answer, this was our solution. So again, you don't have to feel worried about not having the skills or the talent. that you can always learn. That's a skill that you can learn. Now, the other one is a lot of people would say, well, I don't have a good idea. That's how I was too at the very beginning. As I mentioned, looking at different businesses at the very beginning, 6 months prior to finding this, I found different ways, but what I was missing was the product or the service. What was I going to be able to offer? What is the idea that I can do? Yes, I want an online business, but what does that entail? What does that look like? And for me, I also knew that I was going to need support. Again, coming from, the corporate background for, many, many, many years beforehand, seeing that a lot of things had changed in my world. Especially being at home, for me, I was mostly with my kids. Sometimes I was on social media, but very rare. It was more of a matter of keeping in connection with my own family. So that is something that you would be able to, find out, with this business, and we'll get into that in a minute. But the last thing is I'm not a leader or a visionary. Again, I had doubts as well. Do I have to be a leader? Do I have to have this vision? And the answer is no, you don't have to be a leader. You have other people that will help guide you along the way. You would have people in our, a community of other business owners that have already been there. And so the beautiful thing about that is that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to invent things on your own. As a matter of fact, you're actually copying, or you are, following the same system that has already been proven, that's already been done before you. So that's a win-win, finding something where you can, follow in the footsteps of others that have had the success and have already had failures or had mistakes. So you don't have to make those same mistakes. So that's a real win-win as well. Now, there's three things that, when you are looking at a business, there's three main things that you want to look at. And one of them is that you must have a hungry audience. You want, people that are willing to buy. And how is that? How are you going to get to that point? Well, as you know, as a fellow mom, fellow parent, we have certain pain points that affect us, or affect our lives. And, one of them is not having enough time to spend with our kids. That would be one of the number one things I would say that I've heard from other fellow business owners that have joined me, that they never had the time to be able to spend with their family. And so it wasn't always about the finances. It wasn't always about how much money can I earn. It's how much time can I spend with my family and earn at the same time. So one of the big things is looking at the time spent. And of course, also, what type of person are you going to help? And you know what? 9 times out of 10, it's going to be someone just like you. Another parent, another, maybe another mom, if I'm talking to my moms right now, whatever that looks like. And so it is called attraction marketing. And that's how you're able to find the people that are just like you. You are attracting them, and you are pointing out the things that, were a struggle for you. So for me, it was time. We didn't have my husband at home. I was at home, but we weren't making, an extra income. So we had a couple of things there. And of course, there was the point in time where we didn't know if we were going to be able to afford to put our kids through post-secondary education. And that was a pact that we made when we got married. We decided that because that's not a luxury that my husband Derek and I had when we were growing up, our families weren't able to provide for us. We had to come up with that on our own. And, that's not something that we wanted our kids to have to, forego, to have to work while going to school to be able to pay for their education. So that's, that was a big why for us. So we call that a big why, a big reason for why you want to embark on something like this, an online business besides, doing your regular job. So that would be, finding, again, your audience, which we would help you with. The second one is to have a product or service that's delivered with no time. In other words, being online, being something, being in a place, in a situation where you don't have to wait for the next thing. There's no, inventory that you have to hold. There's no shipping that you have to worry about for others. It's not about that. And so you want to be able to have a system that will allow you to save time and be able to deliver, upon request. In other words, not having to utilize the time in order to be able to serve others, to be able to provide for them. So again, a product or service delivered with no time. And the last one is the biggest one, I would say, is to have a marketing sales system. Because how else are you going to be able to be in 3 or 10 places at once? It's virtually impossible. And so the best way for that is to be able to have a marketing system, something that is on automation. That is one of the biggest things, is to be able to, in order to create a passive income, you need a sales system that is going to run on autopilot for you, something that is going to be on automation. And of course, the best way to find something like that is on the internet, to be online. And that's what we discovered. Having the sales system was the biggest advantage of all, because then you can still go about your day. You can still go about, spending time with your family. If you want to have your job, to start with, then you can eventually replace your job with a business. But at the start, it's always a good practice to get into the training, to get into realizing, what you need to do for your side business, and then you can grow it to your main business. We call it a plan A. So again, marketing sales system, huge. And when we talk about a marketing sales system, I don't know if you've ever heard of the word funnel, but that would be something that you would be entitled to as well, is to have a funnel, something that's going to help you to gather the people that are looking and that are inquiring about what you have to offer, and also being able to answer them again on autopilot. You don't have to do everything yourself. So you have a lot of background software that would be looked after for you, where you don't have to do everything manually by yourself. So that's one of the great things that we offer here. So you know what? Here's the thing. I want to let you know that the big shift is actually not about getting. This is one of the biggest realizations about having your own business. It's not about getting, it's about giving. How can you give back? What are you able to provide, right? And what is it that you can share with somebody else that's going to help them in their situation? You would have a solution for them. You would have the answer. And so that actually brings me down to the next one, which is that you want something that's going to work without you. So you don't have to be in the forefront at every single minute or every single second of the day. Again, going back to automation, you can give back more because of having a sales system. You have something in place that's going to help you and automate your business. So it's a win-win. You're giving back to your audience, to your people, to the ones that you want to help serve, but also you are, making it happen through automation. And, if it wasn't for that, you wouldn't be able to reach as many people as you could by having a system in place, having everything already outlined. You need a way to help change the world. So you're not just thinking small, you're thinking big. You're thinking global. You're thinking, how many people can I actually serve? How many people can I help? And so creating the system, you're actually giving back. And it's really actually a gift that you're giving. It's a complete joy, as I wrote there. And why I say that is because people sometimes don't even realize what they're missing. They are going day to day. Again, going back to the employee mindset, thinking like an employee. I need to show up for my job so I can get paid. But imagine what that would look like if you woke up, every single day and you had instant inquiries. You had people that were looking for what you have. And there's no pushing. There's no sales. It's not about bugging people. You are attracting people on the flip side. So when they say that you can earn money while you sleep, that's why. Because you have a system in place. You have automation taking care of those inquiries while you're at sleep. And when you can get to them, then you can get to them, on your terms, on your time, in your flexible schedule. And that's the greatest thing, is to be able to have a flexible schedule and an online business that is also portable. Because again, if you can, if you have Wi-Fi, you have, internet hookup, you can do this anywhere. As long as you have that, you can do it on your computer, you can do it on your phone. There's, so many benefits to starting and owning your own online business. And so that's what I wanted to share with you. I wanted to let you know that, there is a solution. You don't have to feel stuck at your job. You don't have to feel like this is it, because it's not. You have other options. Now, of course, you would want to stay at your job and, start something like this on the side. Get it up and running, and eventually, make that your plan A. So, I'm here because I want to also invite you to learn more, right? But before I do that, I just want to, end off by saying we were born in an employee society. And the only thing that's happened is we got the wrong training, right? We got our parents that we're used to, and their grandparents and their parents that, showed us that that was the only way that we knew. And of course, that's what school teaches you. School doesn't teach you to go out and be an entrepreneur. That's not something they do, right? And especially for post-secondary, they're teaching a program for you, and then that program you will use, in the workforce. Of course, this will be passed down to our children afterwards. This is something that we can build for today, and we can leave them as a legacy. So this will be, definitely, shared between the three of our children. And the last thing is, I want to let you know that money is just a measurement. So people get caught up on what is money, what really is money, and it's just a form of measurement, right? It's how you get paid. It's an exchange for your service. That's what money is. So if you are remotely interested in exactly what we're doing and what it is that how this can help you in your life, in your situation, I just want to share with you that every Tuesday and Thursday we have a free live webinar that you can attend. And again, it's free, so all you would have to do is sign up with your name and email. And check this out. It's the same life-changing webinar that we attended almost 7 years ago now. And you will learn what it is that we do, what is an online business, what is a funnel. We will go in further depth about that, and you can get your questions answered on there. Now, of course, there would be a next step after that. If it's something that you like, I would help you with the next step. There is a small investment for that, but the first step is free, and we just love for you to just check it out. That's my goal, and my mission is to help as many families as I can to be able to have what we've been able to achieve. And, one of the biggest things, as I mentioned before, was that we were able to move from a different province to where we live now because that was our choice. We chose to have a better lifestyle for our family, to be able to provide for their post-secondary education, to, be mortgage-free now, to not have a car debt, be able to travel more. We've had, so many blessings along the way, and there's still more to come. And I want that for you too. So again, if you're remotely interested, I want you and I invite you to sign up on our website. It's www.tanyanderek.com. And I'll put it in the comments for you as well so that you can see how to spell it, but it's tanyanderek.com, www.tanyanderek.com. All right, well, I hope that I was able to give you some value there, give you some insights on what it is to be an employee as opposed to being, your own online business owner, your own boss, and, what benefits that could actually, give you for now and for your family's future. So I do highly encourage you to go ahead, sign up on our website, get going to the webinar. You can actually watch the replay right away if you like, and then you can always watch tomorrow. Today's Wednesday for us if you're, depending on what side of the world you're on right now. It is Wednesday, February 26th. Tomorrow is Thursday, February 27th. And again, if you're in my time zone, I am in the Mountain Standard Time Zone. It will start at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. If you're in the Eastern Time Zone, it will be 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, well, thank you so much for tuning in. It was great to chat with you. I can't wait to hear from you, and I can't wait to come back on here and share a little bit more. All right, take care. Have a wonderful day. Bye for now.